Sisters and brothers, a very hearty welcome to each one of you to this monthly Recollection Talk at the beginning of the new year 2024. Every new year brings home to us a new perspective. We have a wonderful year behind us, the year 2023. At the beginning of 2023, we had also taken a lot of resolutions that we would accomplish certain things in the course of the year. Some of us might have the fulfillment of having completed them, but some others might say, I was not able to accomplish all those resolutions. But there would be also equally a few who would say, I never could attempt even to one of those resolutions. Whatever may be the case, it also gives us an opportunity once again to have a retrospection, an evaluation of our life, what we were until now, and to make certain amendments necessary to focus towards the future with more conviction, credibility, and availability of our persons. I welcome you to this new beginning in the year 2024. Yes, my sisters and brothers, the year 2023 had been, perhaps for most of us, an year of relief. Relief from the pandemic COVID-19. Most of us began to move about, began once again to re-establish the lost relationships, began to enjoy a societal life wherein we began to mingle with people actually in our physical life situation. On the other side, it also brought home to us certain fundamental aspects and fabrics of human relationship. During the time of the pandemic COVID-19, we were able to realize certain limitations of our human existence. And as we came out of it, or rather, we believe that we have come out of it, we begin to realize certain areas of perspectives which we need to focus now onwards so that we will never be going back to those pandemic life situations in which we were. One of the things that psychologists would say, human beings can sustain themselves with informations only for the 10% of their lives. Yes, we are in an information boom era. Everything is at our fingertips. You want to know something from its historical perspective? Google it down. You get it then and there. But these informations that we receive in our life are contributing only 10% of our life stream. We need to become more and more aware. A second dimension that we need to cultivate in our life is a meditative lifestyle. That means from the information that I receive in my life, I begin to reflect more and more and begin to personalize it for myself. But even this meditative lifestyle can contribute only another 20% of my whole life, which means 70% of my life is not in my hand. That's what we call illumination, God's intervention in my life. I know that there are very many areas of my life where I will never be able to accomplish things on my own. Even with the help of others, I will never be able to accomplish certain things. I have to simply rely on the power of God, the illumination of God that will make my life more illumined, enlightened, brightened for the future. This is here that I find certain dimensions of our life need to be once again remolded. I remember the wise saying of a Spanish Carmelite priest, Aurelius, and he says, you need to do 3 things in your life to be satisfied. What are those 3 things? First of all, he says, entrate toti, which means enter fully. Secondly, he would say, manete soli, remain alone. And thirdly, exite nuvi, come out renewed. Enter fully, remain alone, and come out renewed. Yes, my sisters and brothers, perhaps this recollection talk needs to orient us towards that aspect of this full entry, a remaining silently and alone with God, and coming out with a renewed mindset so that we will be able to live this new year in the most effective way. Last year, the year 2023, at the very beginning of the year when I gave the monthly recollection talk, I spoke about that particular topic. Love alone suffices. I would like to go further in the same line this year to focus on a particular fundamental element of our life, relationship. Relationship matters. Yes, my brothers and sisters, I remind myself of a story told about two young people who were on a long journey, a girl and a boy. As they were traveling together, the girl asked the boy, what is more important, the road that we travel or the goal that we have to reach? And the boy held the hand of the girl and told her, neither of them. What is more important is to have a companion on the way. What is more important is to have a companion on the way. Someone who will travel with me on the way. Whatever be the kind of road that I tread, whatever be the goal that I may have to achieve in my life, when I have someone to hold my hand and say, I am with you, that would make my life different. What is more important is the companion who journeys with me. It is said about Sri Buddha, as he was about to leave this earthly abode, one of his disciples came to him and asked him, are you the last one to come? Buddha told him, my brother, I am not the last one. After me comes Maitreyan, the friend. When I read it from a gospel perspective, for me, this Maitreyan is Jesus Christ. Someone who has become a friend to me. Someone who has become the life stream of my journey. Someone who holds my hand when I am lonely, depressed, and totally left behind. Maitreyan, the friend of my life, Jesus Christ. When I look into the Bible, I see it's all about friendships. The very beginning itself, through the book of Genesis, speaking about the friendship that is necessary for human beings. The Lord Yahweh said, it is not good for man to be alone. He needs to have a companion in his life. Therefore, he made woman out of the very person of the man and woman. Therefore, a man would leave his home, he would join the wife, and now onwards, there would not be two, there would be one in body and in mind. This is the kind of that friendship that is expected, a relationship of intimacy that is brought forward by the book, the Bible, all through its writings. As we move forward, I see how two siblings develop their attitudes in a very contradicting manner. It's about Moses and Aaron. We say there are two varieties of priesthood we see in these two people. There is an Aaronic priesthood, the priesthood that is basically ceremonial and ritual. But there is also the Mosaic priesthood. And this Mosaic priesthood develops out of a relationship. One of the strange things that we would notice in the Bible about Aaron is this. Aaron, although appointed by God as the priest of God, conducting all the rituals and sacrifices, we would notice one very special thing about him is this. Aaron never encountered God personally. As a result, when hurdles came on his way, when difficulties came on his way, he fell away. He had no one to hold on. He did not have that spiritual nourishment or the experiential awareness of the presence of God in his life. He gave way for sinfulness. The priest committed sin. Whereas, look at Moses. He climbs the mountain. He goes up to the mountain and there he remains for 40 days and 40 nights. As a result, the experience that he made with this God of his becomes a life journey for him. In the midst of struggles, in the midst of loneliness, opposition that came from his own people, lack of understanding that came from his brother and his own sister, in all these situations of his life, Moses never gave up his commitment and relationship with his God. He had a God who walked with him during the day in the form of a pillar of cloud, and during the night in the form of a pillar of fire, lighting up his way. His God walked with him. Friendship to the maximum. As we still move forward, we find yet another beautiful narration of friendship in the Bible. And that perhaps is the friendship of the book. The relationship and friendship between David and Jonathan. Jonathan was the best friend of David. He sacrificed everything that he possessed, his own kingdom, his possibilities, his so-called future. He sacrificed for the sake of his friend David. And when Jonathan was killed, there is a big cry of David mentioned in the book. And what is that? David says, "My friend Jonathan, your love is much, much more deeper than the love given to me by thousands of women. The passionate love that you shared with me makes me today aware how deep is your relationship with me. You were someone who stood with me in all the situations of my life." Yes, my brothers and sisters, this is the kind of friendship that we are invited to share through the Bible. And when we enter into the New Testament, especially into the life of Jesus, how many times we encounter this aspect of total committed relationship, experientially shared by Jesus himself. Jesus brings before us the incident of that man who was lying down at the pool of Bethsaida. The Bible very clearly narrates before us, for the past 38 years he was lying at the pool side. Very many commentators narrate negatively this lying down of this man. He was a lazy man. He never took initiative to jump into the pool. All those criticisms against him. Perhaps it is true. But on the other side, I listened to his voice that he narrated to Jesus. When he met with Jesus, he said one thing: "I have no one to take me and to put me in the pool." My dear sisters, my dear brothers, this is the strange, depressive narration. I have no one. A man who is left alone for the past 38 years without having anyone to say that he is mine or she is mine. Totally bereft of the interior dimension of a relationship. Never possible to look at someone as the possibility of my life. And this man's cry is loudly narrated in the gospel. And I believe this is something that is very much befitting to all of us. Very many of us priests and religious, we live in our communities. How many of us can daringly say that the one who is living with me in my community is my friend? What is the quality of relationship that we develop in our community living? Can we ever say that at the moment when I am in difficult situation, one of them would come and sit with me, hold my hand and tell me that I will walk with you any extent? Look at our own families. We may be married for the past 40 years, 30 years, 25 years. We may have wonderful, beautiful children, but still, in the moment of your loneliness as a husband, as a wife, are you able to realize the hand of the other as the hand that will hold you in your depressive moments? Yes, my dear sisters and brothers, these are certain situations that we find consequently in our own lives too. And that's where I see Jesus taking an extra step now. When he sends his disciples for the apostolic activities, it is said he sent them 2 by 2. He did not send them individually. If 70 of them were sent, we must realize they were sent only to 35 places. Some of us in our rational argument might also ask the question, he could have sent each one of them individually. 70 places would have been covered. There would have been more success. The mission would have been more credible. Yes, realize one truth, my dear brothers and sisters. We calculate most of the things happening in our life on account of the external success. We are more worried about the efficiency than the efficacy of happenings. And it is here that Jesus looks at the quality of his disciples' apostleship. What is more important is that when you enter into ministry, you yourself should be a satisfied person, holding the hand of the other. You must be able to say, I witnessed Jesus Christ in relationship and in friendship. Jesus promotes this friendship further. As we look into the gospel, we find there, as he is hanging on the cross, 2 people standing at the foot of the cross. John the Evangelist and Mary, the mother of Jesus. When I look at John, very often, I have certain strange feelings about him. He is a strange man. Perhaps he was the loner of the group of the apostles. He thought always differently. His thinking pattern was different. As a result, he did not find that place amidst the companions who were along with him. Yes, now Jesus realizes the loneliness that he is experiencing in his life. On the cross, looking down, he tells his beloved disciple, here is your mother. He looks at his mother, who is equally now lonely, and tells her, here is your son. Yes, my brothers and sisters, it is in this context that I would like to take up this concept of relationship from 3 perspectives for our personal meditation and reflection. First and foremost, relationship always demands responsibility. Every relationship is a commitment. Without responsible engagement, no friendship, no relationship will ever be successful. Sometimes I have heard people saying, oh, we are in friendship for such a long time. But have you ever sat down and evaluated the quality of your friendship, your relationship? It's here I look at those 2 disciples, James and John, now coming to Jesus and telling him, we would like to sit one at your right and the other at your left. And the Lord says, wait. It's all fine, sitting at the left or the right. It is not in any way my business to do. That my Father will decide. But I have a question to ask you. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink? The passion that I may have to undergo, are you willing to journey with me? When I am in depression, are you willing to sit near me? When I am sick, are you willing to take care of me? When I am thirsty, when I am hungry, are you willing to give me drink and food? Yes, fundamental questions of relationship. And we notice that most probably they have not understood the meaning of relationship. It is not about power. It is not about influence. It's all about responsibility. When I say someone that I love you, I must be able to walk an extra mile with the person with whom I have made this commitment. It involves your personality, your very being. A second aspect of relationship is the one who is in true friendship and relationship should be able to tell the other, yes, you are not dead, you are only sleeping. I always used to ask myself this question after having read the gospel. Did Jesus have many friends? We always say, yes, he had many friends. Tax collectors were his friends. Sinners were his friends. His own apostles, his own disciples were with him. They were all his friends. But I believe Jesus did not have many friends. There's only one person who in the gospel can be really named as the friend of Jesus. That is Lazarus. The gospel very clearly mentions Lazarus, his friend, died. And this is a very intimate relationship. You know very well, when the message came to Jesus that Lazarus is dead, Jesus said, no, he is not dead. He is sleeping. Yes, it is an evoking of the possibilities of the other. Death is like a writer's block. It is said, when great writers who are even able to write with both hands suddenly come to a block in their writing pattern, their minds do not function anymore. Their ideas get emptied. They are no more able to proceed with their writings. There is a writer's block. So also, in the life of most of us, there is a death encounter. And a true friend would come forward and say, no, you are not dead. You are only sleeping. Get up from the sleep. And that awakening moment is the reality of your life. Certain times, we encounter this kind of a life situation very personally in our own lives too. My dear friends, my brothers and sisters, I encountered this struggle and I know the importance of friendship. A friend who stands near and tells me, doesn't matter, I will pray for you and for your dear one. Yes, every moment when someone stands near and encourages, relieves you of that interior struggle, you are made alive again, made to get up from those so-called slumber, and you are made to become alive in your life situation. You are not dead, you are only sleeping. A friend comes to tap you up and tells you, get up now, walk again, and make sure that your future is bright. And thirdly, you will notice that a friend who loves the other in true relationship dies to himself or to herself. It is a killing of one's own self. Relationship demands death to oneself. I'm always enchanted by that beautiful incident narrated about Maximilian Kolbe. Of course, we speak about Kolbe, very less about the man who was saved by Kolbe. You know, in the Nazi concentration camp, Kolbe opted to die for that particular man who was about to be killed. Later, when Maximilian Kolbe was about to be canonized, this particular man who was saved from death through that exemplary lifestyle of Kolbe was also present for his canonization. It is said all through the ceremony of the canonization, he was weeping, which means he realized how much a friendship, a relationship matters when you are able to go beyond yourself, giving up your life for the sake of the other. Sisters and brothers, we need to wake up to a new understanding of relationship, friendship, intimacy. In all these, there is one dimension. Someone who has experienced God in himself or herself will be able to pay the price of a relationship. Yes, my brothers and sisters, as we enter into the mystery of the new year 2024, let's enter into the new perspective of relationship. A relationship built around God. A relationship that sustains the other in responsibility, in going with the other, and in sacrificing one's own self. I welcome you to enjoy a new year with a purposeful relationship and committing yourself to the values of the kingdom. God bless you. Amen.